The sound of metal echoed in the darkness. The human slowly opened his eyes. His head was heavy, and his throat felt dry like dust. He tried to move, but chains rattled. Cold iron bars surrounded him on every side. He was locked in a cage. For a moment, he did not remember who he was or how he got here. The air was strange, heavy, and it carried the smell of oil and smoke. The floor under him was not earth or stone. It was something metallic, humming like the inside of a giant machine. He touched the bars. They were smooth, glowing faintly with symbols he could not understand. Strange marks, like a language of light, kept crawling across the iron surface. He pulled hard, but the bars did not bend. Then he heard it, a roar. His heart jumped. From the other side of the room came the sound of two creatures fighting, the noise of claws scratching metal, teeth snapping, and growls deep enough to shake the air. He turned his head quickly and saw them, two alien warriors. One stood tall, covered in green-black scales that shone under the dim lights. Its eyes were yellow and narrow like a predator. Every time it moved, its muscles flexed like a coiled snake ready to strike. The other was different. Its body was covered in dark fur, and blue sparks of energy ran across its skin as if lightning lived inside it. Its glowing eyes burned like fire in the shadows. They were trapped in another cage right across from him. But unlike him, they were not silent. They were fighting endlessly, claw against claw, fist against fist, teeth biting, tails whipping. Every strike shook the cage, every roar made the ground vibrate. The human's heart pounded. He stepped back, his back pressing against the cold wall of his own prison. He whispered, "Where am I? What is this place?" No answer came. Only the fight continued. The ship around him groaned as if it were alive. Somewhere above, lights flickered and a deep thrum ran through the walls. He realized then, he was not on Earth. He was inside an alien ship. The cage trembled again as the warriors clashed. The scaled one slammed the other against the bars so hard the room shook. Sparks of blue energy exploded out, lighting the human's cage for a second. He saw his own reflection in the glowing walls. Pale face, wide eyes, fear carved across his skin. He wanted to scream, but he bit his lip. If they saw his weakness, would they turn on him next? The fight grew louder, faster, more violent. And yet, he noticed something strange. The aliens were strong enough to break steel. He could see their claws cut the bars, he could hear the iron bending under their strikes, but somehow, they never broke free. It was as if the cages were alive, repairing themselves as the fight went on. The glowing symbols shifted and pulsed, whenever damage was done, sealing the cracks in an instant. And then, something even stranger happened. A voice. Not a sound he heard with his ears, but a whisper inside his mind. It was soft at first, like a breeze carrying words he almost understood. One must be chosen. The human froze. He looked around. No one was there. The aliens did not stop fighting, yet the voice grew stronger, louder inside his skull. One must live, one must die. Choose. His hands shook. No, I can't, he muttered. His breath grew fast, but the voice would not stop. Choose, human, or both will fall. The key lies in your hand. He looked down and saw something glowing on the floor of his cage. A shard, small and sharp, pulsing with light. He did not remember seeing it before. He picked it up carefully, and as soon as he touched it, the whisper grew louder. Break the seal, free one, or watch both perish. His chest tightened. Sweat ran down his face. He looked at the two warriors still tearing each other apart. Blood spilled, sparks flew, the sound of rage filled the room. But then, just for 1 second, both aliens stopped. Their glowing eyes turned to him, staring right into his soul. It was as if they knew. They knew he had the power to set one of them free. The ship groaned again, louder this time, almost like thunder. Lights above flickered red. Alarms began to sound. Something worse was coming. The human's hands tightened around the glowing shard. He stepped closer to the bars, heart racing, mind burning with fear. One choice, one moment. The voice whispered again. Decide. And in that moment, he realized something terrible. He was not just a prisoner. He was part of a game. The fight between the two aliens did not stop. Every roar echoed like thunder in the metal chamber. The human gripped the glowing shard tightly, his knuckles white, sweat dripping from his forehead. His cage rattled as if the fight across from him shook the very air. The scaled warrior lunged forward, its claws slicing through sparks of blue light. The fur-covered alien snarled, its glowing eyes blazing like fire as it slammed the reptilian against the bars. The sound was sharp, like steel breaking. But the cages did not break. The glowing symbols on the bars pulsed brighter, repairing the damage in seconds. It was as if the cages were alive, feeding on the violence. The human's breath grew shallow. He whispered, "They're not just fighting. They're trapped in this forever." The alien with scales roared, its voice deep and ancient like a beast that had fought 1,000 wars. It slammed its tail against the ground, shaking dust and sparks into the air. The furred alien answered with a howl, its voice almost human. Filled with rage and hunger, they clashed again, fists against claws, teeth against bone. Their strength was terrifying. Every strike was powerful enough to kill a human instantly, and yet they seemed evenly matched, as if no one could win. The human pressed his forehead against the bars, eyes wide. He could see blood now, dark liquid dripping across the floor. The smell of iron filled the room. But instead of slowing down, the aliens only grew wilder, faster, more desperate. Then it happened again. The voice, this time louder, sharper inside his head. They fight for survival. They fight for power. They fight for you. He stumbled back, shaking his head. No, not. For me, I'm nothing. I'm just human. But the voice whispered again, a sound like wind and fire together. Without you, they will die. With you, one may live. The human's chest ached. His heartbeat was loud in his ears. He looked at the glowing shard in his hand. Its light pulsed, in rhythm with the cages as if connected. Suddenly, both warriors stopped. They turned their glowing eyes on him. For the first time, silence filled the room. The reptilian's yellow eyes narrowed, its sharp teeth glinting. The furred alien growled low, blue sparks running across its body. They were not fighting each other now. They were both staring at him. The human froze. His breath caught in his throat. It felt like being a rabbit caught between two wolves. The reptilian stepped closer to the bars, its voice deep and rough, speaking words the human did not understand. Yet somehow, the meaning crawled into his mind. Choose me. The furred alien roared, slamming a clawed hand against the bars, its voice sharp and burning. No, choose me. The human shook his head violently. I don't understand. I can't. The cages glowed brighter, almost blinding. The symbols burned with power. The ship groaned again, alarms screaming louder than before. Red light filled the chamber, and the human felt the floor trembling beneath his feet. Something was coming, something big. The aliens returned to fighting. But this time, it was different. It was no longer blind rage. It was desperation. They weren't just fighting for themselves. They were fighting for him. Every strike, every roar, every drop of blood was a message. I must win. I must be chosen. The human gripped the shard tighter. He could feel its heat now, like fire burning into his palm. The voice in his head grew louder, almost painful. Choose. Break the seal. Free one, or all will perish. He looked at the warriors again. Their movements were faster, their roars louder, their eyes burning with something beyond anger. Desire. Claim. Hunger. The reptilian slammed the furred alien against the bars, pressing its claws against its throat. Its voice rattled through the chamber, half snarling, half speaking. The human heard the words echo in his skull. He is mine. The furred alien exploded with blue light, knocking the reptilian back. Sparks danced like lightning across the walls. Its voice was a howl of fury. "No, he is mine." The human's knees grew weak. He pressed himself against the back of his cage, shaking his head. No, this isn't real. This isn't happening." But deep inside, he knew it was real. Too real. The aliens clashed again, blood spraying across the floor. Their fight was no longer just survival. It was war for possession. War for something beyond freedom. The human's hands trembled. The shard glowed so bright it burned his skin. He dropped it, and the sound rang like a bell. The cages shook. The warriors froze again, their eyes snapping toward him. Both spoke at once, their voices echoing through his skull like thunder. "Free me." The alarms grew louder. The ship shook harder. Something outside slammed against the hull, metal screaming. The chamber lights flickered, dying into shadows. The human bent down, his hand hovering over the glowing shard again. He could feel the weight of choice pressing on him like a mountain. One would live, one would die. And his decision would change everything. But before he could decide, the entire ship roared with an explosion. The floor split. Sparks rained from the ceiling and the cages lit up with violent power. The fight was not ending, it was only beginning. The chamber was shaking like the heart of a storm. Red alarms flashed across the walls, painting the cages in blood-colored light. Sparks rained from the ceiling as metal screamed. The human's ears rang with noise, sirens, roars, and the pounding of his own heartbeat. The two alien warriors still fought, claw against claw, their strength tearing dents into the unbreakable cages. Blood and sparks mixed together on the floor. Their eyes burned with rage, but also with something else. Something darker. The human looked down at the glowing shard in his hand. Its light was brighter now, almost alive. It pulsed like a heartbeat. He could feel the heat sink into his skin. He whispered to himself, This is the key." The voice in his head grew louder, sharper, demanding. "Choose. Break the seal. Free one. The other will fall." His chest tightened. His throat went dry. Both warriors glared at him again, their roars silent, but their meaning clear. "Free me." The ship shook again, harder this time. Something outside slammed against the hull. A sound like weapons firing echoed through the metal corridors. Whoever had built this ship, they were under attack. The human pressed his forehead against the bars of his cage. His mind screamed. How could he choose? Both aliens were monsters, both dangerous, both terrifying, and yet, both had eyes that burned with desperate need. Then a thought struck him. What if I don't choose one? What if I choose both? The shard pulsed stronger in his hand as if hearing his thought. The voice roared in his mind, angry and sharp. No. One must live, one must die. The law cannot be broken. He shook his head violently. His voice cracked, but his words were steady. No, I won't play your game. He slammed the shard against the glowing lock of his own cage. For a moment, nothing happened. Then light exploded. The symbols on his bars screamed with fire, burning bright white, and with a crack like thunder, the lock shattered. The cage door flew open. The human staggered out, almost blinded by the light. His legs shook, but he forced himself to stand. The shard in his hand glowed like a star. Both warriors froze mid-fight. Their eyes widened. For the first time, silence filled the chamber. The reptilian growled low, voice rumbling like stone breaking. Impossible! The furred alien stepped forward, sparks dancing across its body. He broke the law. The human raised the shard high, his voice echoing. I will not choose one. I will free you both. Before the voice in his head could scream again, he hurled the shard toward the cages, holding the warriors. The shard struck the ground between them. The floor glowed, symbols bursting into light, spreading like fire. The cages trembled, their locks glowing brighter, then cracking apart. One cage door crashed open, then the other. The warriors stood free. For the first time, they were not enemies. They stared at the human, shock in their glowing eyes. The reptilian's chest rose and fell, its claws twitching. The furred one growled, but softly, like thunder, rolling far away. The ship roared again, explosions ripping through the halls. Alarms screamed. The floor tilted, throwing sparks and smoke into the chamber. The human shouted, "If we don't leave now, we all die." The reptilian turned its head, listening. Heavy steps echoed in the corridor, the sound of metal scraping against metal. The hunters were coming. A squad of tall, skeletal machines stormed into the chamber. Their eyes burned red, their bodies shining with black steel. Weapons rose from their arms, glowing with deadly fire. The warriors roared as one. The reptilian leapt forward, claws slashing through the first machine. Sparks and metal shards rained as the creature ripped it apart. The furred alien followed, blue lightning exploding from its fists, frying 2 more hunters in seconds. The human stumbled back, his heart racing. He had freed them, and now they fought not against each other, but against their captors. One of the machines turned toward him, weapon charging. His breath caught. He had no weapon, no strength, nothing to fight with. But before the machine could fire, the reptilian's tail whipped across the room, smashing the hunter into pieces. The human fell back against the wall, eyes wide. The furred alien stood before him, growling at the machines, electricity crackling through its fur. It turned its head slightly, and for one strange moment the human felt something shocking in its gaze. Not just protection, not just survival, but possession. The battle raged, the chamber filled with smoke, sparks, and the smell of burning metal. The warriors fought with brutal power, tearing through the hunters like beasts unleashed after years of chains. And the human realized something terrifying. They weren't fighting for freedom anymore. They were fighting for him. The last hunter fell, its body burning on the floor. Silence returned, heavy and hot. The human panted, his chest tight. The shard lay broken on the floor, its light fading into nothing. Both warriors stood tall, bloodied, but alive. They turned their glowing eyes toward him. The reptilian hissed, low and dangerous. "You broke the law," the furred alien growled, sparks still dancing across its body. "And because of you, we are free." Their voices were heavy, with meaning, not gratitude, not peace, something deeper. The human stepped back, his heart pounding. He whispered, "What have I done?" And in that moment, he understood. By freeing them both, he had broken a rule older than stars. And now, he had made himself the center of a war he did not understand. The chamber burned with smoke and sparks. The human stood frozen, chest rising and falling fast as the last of the metal hunters lay broken on the ground. The air smelled of fire and blood. The glowing shard that had freed them was nothing but ash now. The reptilian warrior licked blood from its claws, eyes glowing yellow in the dim light. The furred one shook its body, sparks of blue electricity crawling across its skin, making the broken machines twitch even after death. For a long moment, none of them moved. The human felt their eyes on him, heavy, sharp, burning. He whispered under his breath, "I shouldn't have done it." But the floor shook again, harder than before. The whole ship groaned as if it were screaming in pain. Red lights flashed faster, alarms shrieked louder. Somewhere far above, something huge struck the hull. The reptilian turned its head, growling low. "Hunters are not alone," it hissed. The furred alien stepped closer to the human. Its voice was rough but clear enough to understand. "Ship is falling. If you want to live, follow." The human's legs were weak, but he forced himself to move. He followed as the 2 warriors stormed through the broken doorway, their massive forms moving with terrifying speed. The corridors were narrow walls covered in glowing marks that pulsed like veins of a living beast. The air grew hotter, filled with smoke and sparks. Every few seconds, another explosion rattled the floors. The human stumbled, coughing. The reptilian grabbed him roughly by the arm, pulling him upright. "Weak body, must not fall." The furred alien snarled, "Do not touch him." For a moment, The two glared at each other, growls rumbling low in their throats. The human felt caught between them again, but then another blast shook the ship, and they both turned forward. They ran. Hunters spilled from the walls like insects, tall and skeletal, their red eyes glowing in the smoke. Weapons charged with heat. The reptilian roared, tearing through the first line, claws ripping metal apart. The furred one leapt high, electricity blasting from its fists, burning through 3 hunters at once. The human ducked low, running behind them. Every step was chaos. Sparks rained down, wires snapped from the ceiling, and smoke made it hard to breathe. He almost slipped, but a clawed hand, sharp, yet strangely careful, caught his shoulder. It was the reptilian again. Its voice rumbled deep. "Stay close. To me," the furred one growled, lightning flashing across its skin. "No, stay close to me." The human's chest tightened. Even now, in the middle of fire and death, they were fighting over him. They turned another corner and stopped. Ahead, the passage was blocked by flames. The ship's systems had collapsed. The walls were burning. Heat washed over them, choking and bright. The human's knees trembled. "We're trapped." But the reptilian slammed its claws into the wall, tearing through glowing symbols. Sparks burst as it ripped open a hidden panel, revealing a dark crawlspace. "Through here," it hissed. The furred alien bared its teeth. "He will not fit fast enough. I carry him." The reptilian stepped in front of the human, growling. "No, I will carry," the human shouted, his voice shaking. "Stop, both of you. If we keep fighting, we all die." The ship groaned again, metal screaming. The flames spread closer. Hunters marched through the smoke behind them. No more time. The human pushed past them both, forcing himself into the crawlspace. It was dark, narrow and filled with dust, but it was escape. The warriors followed, one behind, one ahead. Their large bodies filled the space, their claws scraping the walls as they crawled through. The human's heart hammered as he crawled, faster, coughing in the smoke. Finally, they burst out into another chamber. This one was wide and open, with massive windows showing the black sea of space outside. Stars flickered beyond the glass, but the sight was not peaceful. Dozens of ships surrounded them, dark, sharp shapes with glowing red lights. They fired streams of fire into the alien vessel. Explosions bloomed across the hull. The human's jaw dropped. "We're under attack," the reptilian growled, eyes narrowing. "Hunters, masters, they come to reclaim us." The furred alien clenched its fists, sparks snapping in the air. "Then we kill them." The human shook his head, panic rising. "No, we can't fight all that. We need to get out of here." The reptilian pointed to a small craft docked in the corner of the chamber. A sleek escape ship, half hidden by smoke. Its lights flickered weakly, but it was intact. Before they could run, a loud crash shook the chamber. The wall tore open, and a massive figure stepped through the smoke. It was not a hunter, it was something worse. A giant armored creature, twice the size of the warriors, its body covered in black plates. Its eyes glowed red like fire, and in its hand it carried a weapon longer than the human's body. The reptilian hissed, lowering itself into a stance. "Warlord." The furred alien's eyes blazed, electricity storming across its body. Then blood must fall. The human's heart pounded as the warlord's shadow spread across the chamber. Behind him, the escape ship's lights blinked weakly, the only hope of freedom. He whispered to himself, "How do we survive this?" And in that moment he understood something new. Freeing them had not saved him. It had only pulled him deeper, into a fire he could not escape. The chamber shook as the warlord stepped forward. Its heavy feet smashed the floor, sparks flying. With each step, its red eyes burned like twin suns. The reptilian warrior spread its claws wide, tail coiling like a whip. The furred alien crouched low, electricity crackling over its body. The human pressed himself against the wall, breath coming in short, sharp gasps. His body screamed at him to run, but his legs would not move. He was trapped, caught between two, warriors ready to fight and a monster too powerful to face. The warlord's voice rumbled deep, shaking the chamber. It spoke in a harsh alien tongue, but the meaning stabbed straight into the human's mind. "You broke the seal. You broke the law. The reptilian growled back, scales bristling. We are free. The furred alien roared, sparks exploding around it. And we will not kneel. The warlord's laughter was like thunder. You think freedom is yours? No. Freedom belongs to him. Its glowing eyes turned on the human. His chest tightened. He could not breathe. Why was everything pointing back to him? He was just human, just weak, just ordinary. But the warlord's gaze burned with certainty. The human is the key. He is the prophecy. The words froze the warriors where they stood. Both turned their heads slowly toward the human. Their glowing eyes locked on him with new hunger, new meaning. The human shook his head, voice cracking. No. No. I'm not special. I don't even know why I'm here. But deep inside, something stirred. A memory, faint and hidden, like a whisper from long ago. One day you will walk among stars. One day others will follow you. It was his mother's voice, a bedtime story she used to tell him, one he had forgotten until now. The reptilian hissed softly, its voice low. The prophecy. It is real. The furred alien's growl deepened. The human. The bond. The warlord raised its massive weapon, red fire burning along its blade. He must not live. If he survives, the clans will unite. The war will end. That cannot happen. The reptilian roared and leapt forward, claws crashing against the warlord's blade. Sparks flew as steel met scale. The furred alien joined with a howl, lightning striking the warlord's armor, filling the air with the smell of burning metal. The human stumbled backward, eyes wide as the three giants clashed in a storm of claws, blades, and lightning. The noise was deafening. Each strike shook the chamber. Each roar echoed like thunder. He covered his ears, falling to his knees. But through the chaos, his eyes fell on something near the escape ship. A chamber. A pod, glowing faintly with light. Inside were strange symbols, carved deep, pulsing with the same energy that once powered the cages. Drawn by instinct, he crawled toward it. His fingers brushed the glowing surface, and suddenly, light swallowed him whole. Visions exploded in his mind. He saw alien worlds burning, under war. He saw the reptilian clans fighting against the furred tribes, blood spilling across countless stars. He saw hunters dragging prisoners in chains, feeding the endless war with more violence. And then, he saw himself, a human standing between the clans, a human whose choice could unite them or destroy them forever. The light faded, and he fell back, gasping. His heart pounded, sweat dripping down his face. The prophecy was true. He was the one. Behind him, the war raged on. The reptilian slashed, roaring with fury. The furred alien blasted lightning, its howl shaking the walls. But the warlord fought back with terrifying strength, striking them down again and again. The human stood trembling but steady. He shouted, his voice louder than he thought possible. Stop fighting! The warriors froze mid-strike, their glowing eyes snapping to him. Even the warlord hesitated, its blade pausing. The human's voice cracked, but he forced the words out. This war, it's not about cages or laws, it's about me. I don't know why, but I am the key. And I will not let you destroy each other for me. The reptilian tilted its head, claws dripping with blood. Its voice was low. Then, you will choose, the furred alien snarled, electricity burning bright. Yes, choose your mate, choose your bond. The human's heart stopped, his hands shook. Mate? Both warriors stepped closer, their eyes burning with claim. With desire, the warlord roared, its voice shaking the chamber. Yes, the prophecy says one shall claim you. One bond will end the war if you refuse, and everything burns. The human stumbled back, his breath quickened. The walls shook again, fire raining from above. The escape ship flickered, its systems failing. And in that moment he realized the truth. He was not just a prisoner. He was not just a survivor. He was the prize, a prize worth fighting for, a prize worth killing for. and unless he made a choice, the galaxy would tear itself apart. The chamber still burned with fire and smoke. The warlord's blade dragged sparks across the floor, but even he had stopped for a moment. His glowing red eyes watched in silence as though he too wanted to see what choice the human would make. The reptilian warrior stepped forward first. Its yellow eyes locked on the human, steady and sharp. "You freed us," it hissed, voice deep like stone. Cracking. "By right, you are mine." The furred alien snarled, its body glowing with sparks of blue. "No, he belongs to me. My bond will end the war." The human's heart pounded. He stepped back, hands raised. "I don't belong to anyone." But the warriors didn't listen. They faced each other, growls rumbling low in their throats. Their muscles tensed, claws and fists ready. The reptilian slammed its tail against the ground, the sound like a whip. "I will claim him, no one else." The furred alien's teeth bared, lightning crawling over its arms. "Then fight me." And they did. With a roar, the reptilian lunged, claws flashing. The furred alien met it head-on, fists exploding with electricity. The clash shook the chamber. Sparks and blood sprayed into the air. The human flinched, pressing himself against the wall. His chest hurt, his throat tight. He wanted to scream at them to stop, but his voice was drowned out by the thunder of their battle. The reptilian slashed, carving deep marks into the furred alien's side. The furred one howled, blue light bursting from the wound, blasting the reptilian backward. The floor cracked under the force. They fought not just with rage, but with purpose. Every strike was not only to kill the other, but to prove strength, to prove worth, to prove who deserved the human. The warlord's laughter rumbled like an earthquake. "Yes, fight. Only one may claim the bond. Only one may live." The human shook his head violently. "No, I never asked for this. I never wanted this." But inside, his chest burned with confusion. Why did their eyes look at him that way? Not just hunger, not just claim, but something deeper. As if in him they saw a future worth bleeding. For the reptilian lunged again, claws ripping across the furred alien's arm. The furred one answered with a storm of lightning, throwing the reptilian into the wall. The sound of impact was like thunder breaking steel. The human ran forward without thinking. "Stop, please." He grabbed the reptilian's arm, pulling it up. His touch made the warrior pause, its eyes flashing with shock. For a brief moment, the reptilian looked down at him. Not as prey, not as weak, but as something it could not harm. Its claws trembled. Its chest rose and fell heavy. Then the furred alien grabbed the human shoulder, pulling him back. Electricity sparked, not to burn, but to shield. "He is mine. He feels me. He chose me already." The reptilian roared, rage snapping like fire. "No, he touched me. He is mine." They clashed again, this time with the human caught between them. He stumbled back, heart pounding, breath shallow. The prophecy's words echoed in his mind. "One shall claim you. One bond will end the war." His stomach twisted. If he chose, one would live. The other would fall. Could he really carry that choice? Could he kill one of them with a word? The fight grew bloodier. The reptilian's scales cracked, blood dripping dark across its chest. The furred alien's body smoked, sparks weaker, its breathing rough. But neither gave up. Every strike screamed the same message: "He is mine." The human's head spun. He wanted to run, but his legs would not move. He wanted to close his eyes, but he could not look away. And then something terrifying happened. Both warriors stopped. They were on their knees, bloodied and broken, yet their glowing eyes never left him. They looked not at each other, but at him, desperate, pleading. The reptilian's voice cracked. "Say my name, choose me, and I will give you my life." The furred alien's howl softened into words. "Choose me. I will fight the galaxy for you, die for you, live for you." The human's chest tightened until it hurt. He whispered, I can't." The warlord stepped forward, blade raised high. Its voice shook the air. If you do not choose, then both will die, and so will you. The human's knees trembled. Fire roared across the chamber, smoke burning his eyes. Two warriors, broken but unyielding, stared at him with love twisted into fury. The warlord towered above, ready to strike them all down. And in that moment, the human understood something cruel. This was not just a fight for survival. This was a fight for his heart. The chamber burned like the heart of a dying star. Smoke filled the air. Red alarms flashed across the walls, and the ship groaned as if it might collapse at any moment. The reptilian warrior knelt, blood running down its scaled chest, claws trembling. Its yellow eyes never left the human. "Say it," it hissed weakly. "Choose me. I will live for you. Die for you." The furred alien crouched opposite, sparks faint but still glowing under its torn skin. Its glowing eyes burned bright with hunger and pain. "No," it growled. "Choose me. My bond will protect you. My bond will end the war." The human stood between them, chest tight, throat dry, his body shaking. His heart screamed for peace, but his mind was drowning in fear. Two warriors, both broken, both willing to kill or tighten for him. Above them, the warlord loomed. Its blade burned red-hot, ready to strike them all down. Its voice was a roar that shook the floor. "Choose, human, or all will fall." The human's breath caught. His knees trembled. He whispered, "Why me? Why must I decide?" The warlord's answer cut through the smoke. "Because you are the prophecy. The clans will follow the one you choose. The galaxy will bow to your bond. But if you choose no one, chaos will burn the stars." The words echoed like a curse. The reptilian slammed a claw against the ground, snarling through blood. "Say it! Say my name!" The furred alien crawled closer, lightning flickering across its broken arms. "Say mine. Feel me. You already know I am yours." The human clutched his head, voice cracking. "Stop. Please, stop." But they didn't stop. Their eyes begged him. Their voices demanded him. Their lives, their futures, their entire races hung on his choice. The ship shook again. Another explosion ripping through the hull. Pieces of metal rained down. The escape craft in the corner flickered, its lights almost dying. Time was running out. The warlord raised its blade high. "Enough waiting. If you will not choose, then none will live." The human's heart screamed. He couldn't let them die. He couldn't let the galaxy fall into fire. He couldn't choose one. His voice rose, louder than he ever thought possible. "No!" The warlord froze mid-strike. Even the warriors stopped breathing. The human stepped forward, his body shaking but his voice steady. "I will not choose one. If this prophecy is true, then both must live. Both must fight. Both must stand with me, or I walk away." The chamber went silent. The reptilian's eyes widened. Its claws twitched, torn between rage and awe. The furred alien growled low, electricity snapping weakly across its skin. Neither moved, neither spoke. The warlord's laughter rumbled, deep and cruel. "Foolish human, the prophecy cannot be broken, only one bond will end the war." The human's chest rose and fell heavy. His voice cracked, but he shouted anyway. "Then I will make a new prophecy." He spread his arms wide, standing between the warriors. "If you want me, then fight no more. If you truly want me, then protect me together, or I choose nothing, and the galaxy burns." The silence was heavy, choking. The reptilian hissed softly, its body trembling with conflict. The furred alien's sparks dimmed, its chest rising and falling fast. They looked at each other, then back at him. The warlord roared in fury, slamming its blade into the ground. Fire burst across the chamber, shaking the walls. "You dare defy the law of the stars?" The human stood tall even as fear twisted inside him. His voice was steady now. "Yes." The warlord lifted its weapon again, ready to strike them all down. But before it could, the reptilian and the furred alien moved as one. With a roar and A howl. They leapt together, claws and lightning crashing against the warlord's armor. Sparks and blood filled the chamber. The humans stumbled back, eyes wide. For the first time, they weren't fighting each other. They were fighting side by side. For him. The warlord screamed, its blade cutting through the air. The warriors struck, again forcing it back step by step. The chamber shook with the storm of their battle. The human's chest tightened. He didn't know who would win, didn't know if they could kill the warlord. But one thing was clear. The choice had already been made, not one mate, not one bond. Two, and the galaxy would never be the same. The walls cracked. The escape craft's alarms blared. The warlord roared. The warriors fought. The human whispered to himself, voice trembling with fear and hope. Please, let this work. And then the floor gave way, plunging them into darkness. The story ended not with peace but with fire, and the promise of a war yet to come.